What's up, She's Not Selling sisters? I have a very, very special community member in the house. 7 months ago, she won a trip to Bali when She Sells hit 200 members, and she's finally here. And boy, does she have a story to share with you. So you're going to find out whether Beck quit her 9-to-5 job, her 6-figure paying job, or whether she decided to go back to it. So I can't wait for you to listen. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the She's Not Selling podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm not nervous.
I mean, I think energy doesn't lie. Energy doesn't lie. The camera might, though. Well, welcome to Bali. And I think let's give us an intro. Who are you? Why are you here? And then we'll get stuck into the juicy stuff.
So I'm Beck. Thanks for having me. So I'm a part of the She Sells community. I actually won this trip to Bali as part of a challenge for reaching 200 at the time. So that was back in November last year. Nearly 9 months ago.
Yeah.
Nearly 9 months ago.
I remember hitting the 200 and being like, oh my God, I've made it. She Sells is exactly where it needs to be. And like now we're at 1,200.
Yeah, right. Like that's
It's
a baby.
crazy.
That's a gestation of a baby. And that's how much you've grown since then.
I remember telling, like we have the most beautiful accounts manager. Or she's our CFO, Stella. I love you. And I remember telling her, I love you, Stella. I remember saying to her, oh my God, we've hit 200. We're going to do a competition with like a really big prize. And she's like, Brooke, what's the prize? I was like, it's just a, little teeny tiny all expenses paid trip to Bali. And she was like, what? She's like, what are we going to do when we hit 1,000? I'm like, well, we're not at 1,000 yet. So let's just do the 200 first.
So actually, I'm lucky then because I think, well, I will say it that I think this is the biggest surprise out of all of the challenges that have been done.
Yeah, it has been. 200 felt very big. It felt bigger than hitting 100 even.
Why?
Well, I think it's because like I always knew we were going to get to 100. When I first started She Sells, it was my goal to get to 100 before I went on the Unemployables podcast. And I remember going and it was at like 97. And then when it hit 100, it didn't really feel like anything. But when it got to 200, I don't know, it was like we were in flow. And I was kind of like, oh my God, this is a thing.
Yeah.
200 women. That just felt insanely big to me. And now I'm like 1,200 and I'm kind of like, on my vision board on my computer, I don't know if you saw it, but I have 1,500. And I'm like, I'm going to hit that this year.
Yes, you are.
So that's pretty crazy.
And, when I joined the community, I could feel how fast you were growing and everything was changing and it just kept on expanding and kept on getting better. And that was everything that you were doing. Everything you were doing was just improving, making it bigger, making it better. And that's what I experienced as part of my time in there. And I like to see how far you've grown from that point is really incredible.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I'm just so grateful to be here. I know it's 7 months later since I won that challenge, but we've been talking about this and it's like I was always meant to be here at this time, which will reveal a little bit why.
Yeah.
In a minute. But
yeah. Because it is pretty crazy to think that you won it in November and it's now almost August and you only came to Bali right now.
Yeah. Well, technically it was in January.
That you won.
Right? Because the challenge went across like 2 months.
Did it?
Yeah.
That's how long ago it was. I don't even remember. Well, yeah, it's been amazing having you here. And I think like the reason I actually wanted to do the challenge in the first place is because when I had the opportunity to hang out with my mentor, it literally changed my world. And sometimes it's just being around someone that you're inspired by, a role model, a mentor, whoever, being around their energy is just really accelerating in your growth and in your trajectory of like your life. So I really wanted to gift that to somebody. And I'm so glad that it's you because as we have both uncovered, this was not only wanted, it was needed. So let's take it back then. Tell us, and like just to preface this is probably going to be a really vulnerable and raw and real episode because like the reason I wanted to get Beck on is because she's she's just like you. She's literally gone through exactly what you've gone through, and so have I. But I might seem a little bit not as relatable as someone like you, who's still very much in it. Yes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I know you talk about that messy middle.
Yeah.
But it's different hearing it from someone who's in the messy middle,
right,
than from someone who's already conquered the messy middle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like messy middle comes up all the time. You know, there's even a messy middle that I will go through again in my next evolution. But for someone who is listening to this podcast and being like, you know, I want to hear from someone in the community. I want to see the struggles. I want the transparency. Like, you're going to get it today. You will get it. So, okay, let's just take it right back then to post-certification.
Okay.
What were you feeling in the community? I want you to walk us through everything that it took you to get certified, and then what happened post-certification.
Yeah. Okay. So everything to get me to certification, I was already feeling that fear. You know that. Like, I think our fear journey has been from the very beginning between you and I, right? And I feel like I really did push through that, and I found I didn't allow it to stop me, even though I was scared. And this is where the community is the biggest part of this whole journey for me, is because I leaned on so many people, and that's where I learned that I can't do things on my own. I can't do it on my own. And I was imagining, like, off topic, but imagine a wall, right? You know that wall that's in your office outside? You can see over it. We can see over it because we're tall enough. We can see over to see the view. And I was just imagining, like, my kids. I've got 2 kids, Noah and Zoe. And my girl, she's 2 years old. My son is 4 years old, and he's a lot taller than her. And I was just imagining, like, them wanting to see the view, right? He's taller. He's more developed than she is, and he can just, like, look over, and he doesn't need much help to, like, actually see the view on the other side. But my daughter, she can't. Like, it's way too high for her. Like, it's way too high. So she can't, without any help, she can't get up there, right? And I was just thinking, it just made, this is when we were on the floor, like, sitting on the floor this morning, and I was thinking, like, imagine that was She Sells Girls. We're all at different levels, right? We're all at different levels. We're all at different heights in our personal journeys. And I was imagining myself being Zoe. Like, I can't reach the top. And I was imagining that wall was, like, say, our limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
Right? And on the other side, that's where you and Tash talk about, like, that step, you know? But you need to get over that wall first to be able to take that next step.
Right. And even your son, even though he probably could catch a glimpse, he still wouldn't fully be able to enjoy the view for what it is. So, like, and that's where, you know, having someone help you up, uppy, as what Oakland would call it.
Yeah,
but uppy, so that they can have a full view of that. I mean, it's so powerful. And that analogy is just so powerful in what it's actually like.
Yeah.
You're a baby when you do something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's how I felt, that wall was too high and I needed help. Like, I couldn't get there on my own.
And let's stop there, because I want you to share, if you feel comfortable, your intro even into She Sells, because it wasn't actually you who funded this. And we got to the sort of root cause of, which we'll get to in a minute. I don't want to, like, say the thing yet, but I just want you to share, like, your journey even into She Sells, because yes, the wall was big. You couldn't see over it yet.
Yeah.
So who could, though? Because it was me, but, like, there was some other people that could see it very clearly before even you could.
Yeah. So I would honestly say everyone who knew me saw more potential in me than I ever could dream. But my husband and my parents-in-law. Yeah. So actually, when I jumped on the call with Ali, I knew that I really wanted to do it. I was scared. She helped me through that. But I also knew that logistically, I actually didn't have the money. Like, our funds were tied up and all of that. But I knew that this is what I wanted to do. I knew that this was the next step. And I would never do this in a million years, but something was just calling me to just be brave and to take this step, which was to ask my parents-in-law for the money to help me fund it. They didn't even bat an eye. Like, they just stood by me. They believed in me. They're like, yeah.
That's insane. that is a prime example of someone who is resourceful, and they're going to find a way to make it work. Whatever it was that was guiding you to make that decision would have felt very powerful for you to do something that's uncharacteristic.
That was very uncharacteristic.
Right.
I'm not talking about my parents. I'm talking about my parents-in-law. A lot of people.
I can't imagine. Like I actually don't think I could.
Yeah. And I, before that point, I would never have as well. I don't think that I would I never would have. But it's amazing what.
Putting your hand up and just being like, hey, can you help me?
Mm-hmm.
And what did they say to you when they said, yep?
My father-in-law was just like, okay, how do we transfer it?
No questions.
Of course there was questions.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they could see and hear it in my voice how passionate I was and how sure I was and how much I believed in She Sells and in you. And yeah, they're like, okay. They probably just needed a minute, like, hang on, let's just talk about it between them two. But it was already like, you knew that it was already like, we've got your back. Like, yes.
That's incredible. And not everyone has that support system around them. And usually it's the other way around. So the fact that everybody you knew could see the vision and hold that vision for you, even when you couldn't see it yourself and couldn't see it within yourself, that's incredible. For me, it was the opposite.
Yeah.
I held the vision for myself, but like no one around me did. It was just me.
Yeah.
So we had a very different intro into this world. I just think that's such a beautiful thing to share, because there's a lot of people that are probably listening being like, I don't have the funds, I can't do it. Maybe they're too much in pride to ask for help. Though, what if that one decision and that one difficult conversation on the other side, if that was everything you ever wanted, would you take that risk?
Yes.
Right.
100%.
Okay, so you're in She Sells. You were a very big presence in the community. You were known. And I love that. I always say to people, if you come into the community and you just don't speak ever and you don't comment on posts and you're not in my live sessions, how will I ever get to know you? How can I ever advocate for you? Like, I will advocate for the movement, and a She Sells girl, of course I would. But like, if I know you, if you just become a presence within the community, like I can really go the extra mile for you, because it's a two-way street, right?
Yes.
So you were a presence. Like you would write posts, you would comment on things, you were in my sessions. What did that do for your confidence and momentum in getting actually certified?
The most part, it made me really see that, oh, I'm not alone. Like I always lived my life feeling that I'm the only one who feels this way and I'm getting nowhere. But all these women
And felt what way?
Felt just like you want more, but you're too scared to chase it.
Okay. Like that unrealized potential.
Yeah.
So you knew you were destined for something more? Is that kind of what you were saying? Right. And what did you do for work?
I worked at the bank.
Okay. And at what point, like, share with us the moment that you were like, and I'm sure, I know even for myself, I've always known too that I wanted more. And I always have been very business savvy, and I wanted to be a businesswoman, and I've got all those kinds of things. But there was like a distinct moment for me where I was like, no, this isn't the life that I want. Did you have one of those moments?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So it was when I went back to work full time after having my 2 kids. And I was like, this is what I have to do. This is how we need to pay our mortgage. This is just the life that we have to live. Backstory, but prior to that was not what I wanted for myself. My husband and I were preparing to move to a different country and live that life and travel and do all of those things. But, when you have kids, things are different. Your priorities change, right? You kind of fall into that. The society expects you to settle down and have the 9-to-5 job so you can take care of the kids and pay the mortgage. And that's what I fell into. And then it was when, we were barely making it. We're scraping by because childcare fees are freaking crazy. And I had to go back we couldn't afford to send them 5 days. So I had to go back 4 days, but compressed hours. And that was 10-hour days. 10-hour days. And what that was doing to me physically, mentally, emotionally, the wife I was showing up as, the mother I was showing up as, just how I felt about myself, I was just freaking miserable. Sorry, am I allowed to say
Yeah. Oh my God. Do you know what podcast you're on right now?
Yeah, but just, miserable. What was the question?
No, this is it. Like that, so you had the moment for you was more of like a series of events.
It was a series of events, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was just that final transition into 10 hours, and that was the only way out. To be able to pay for their childcare, we had to sell the house and move in with our parents-in-law. Like, that's how, financially strained it became. And the only way that we could kind of stay afloat was if I did those hours. Like, I couldn't stay home with the kids. We needed 2 incomes. But then I can't work and not send them to childcare. Like, our parents are still working. Like, we just didn't have that support to be able to keep them at home. So we struggled. And then what I feel like that burden was on me to be able to, like, to have to compress those hours and do 10-hour days, and just, how that impacted me was just.
Well, I mean, you would have woken up, gone to work. Your kids may have still been asleep, or you might have just rushed out the house and you'd been able to be like, bye, I love you. And then probably by the time you got home, if you were doing 10-hour days, they would have been close to going to sleep.
Well, yeah. And I love cooking. I love doing all the things for them, but I wouldn't even be there for dinner time. They'd be having like frozen meals sometimes because I just don't have the time to cook or like be a mom. The house is a bit upside down because I just don't have time or energy to like do laundry or do all those other things. And I just felt like I was failing as a mom, failing as a wife.
What'd your husband say about this?
Oh, he's gorgeous.
Oh, we know. But like, so what was, when he was seeing this, what was he saying to you?
He's always supported me. He's like, if this is not right for you, get out.
Why didn't you?
Well, what I would say to him is that, well, how? We need to pay our mortgage. We need to do this. We need the money. There was no way. I couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. This was it.
And that's the thing. Sometimes it's just seeing the possibility. And you can understand why people get themselves caught in that chronic stuckness, because that's the story they choose to believe, right? There is no way out of this. Like, I have to do that. We have to do this. Like, we have kids, we have a mortgage. Like, this is the only way we can get out of it.
Yeah.
And when you speak in absolutisms like that, you become locked to an identity. So you would have made going to work mean something about yourself. Do you remember what that was? Like, what did you value in that moment when you made the choice to go back to work and commit to those 10-hour days? Like, what did you make that mean about you?
That I have a responsibility to my family. I've got a responsibility to provide. That doesn't matter at what cost.
Right.
Or what other possibilities that there are to be able to do that.
Yeah. So it's so surprising because we know that you are the identity of the person you practice the most. And we do practice that a lot, right?
Yeah.
We practice being an employee from the moment we step into a school. But I think something that's so interesting is, even though you were locked to that identity, somebody had opened that jail cell door ever so slightly, because it makes sense that you were scared about She Sells, and especially understanding now that you held on to that identity of like, well, I have a responsibility. So I can understand the fear. But to have someone be able to get you into such a resourceful state, and for you to seriously be like, this is it, that's a freaking huge energetic lift. So like, what was it? Like, I mean, I know Ali is amazing, but like, what else helped you break away from that identity? Because like, I mean, I know that we're going to come back to it in a sec, but it's crazy to think that you were able to, despite giving yourself such, because like that's an identity you'd want to protect. You're responsible for your children, for your house. Like it was almost a noble thing for you to go back to work. It was responsible. It was sensible. It was all the things. So it's not like that's a bad thing either. So you would have protected that identity. So like, just walk me through like what made you feel like you had to do She Sells? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm just like, this is crazy.
Yeah. So just before I joined She Sells, a few months before, we actually found out that my dad was diagnosed with cancer. And the way that he handled it, he was not open to doing any Western treatment, which is the norm. That's what you're expected to do. And all of us were like, why? Like, what do you mean? That's just what you do when you get sick. But he's a very spiritual man. And so he chooses faith. He chose to go down the spiritual healing route and do all of that. And I was just in my journey of trying to understand what this actually meant. It set me on my own journey, myself on my own spiritual journey.
Wow.
So literally 2 days before I had that call with Ali, I had my first energetic clearing with, do you know Oliver Nino? He's actually Tony Robbins' healer.
Oh, no, I don't, but wow, okay.
Yeah. So it was amazing. Like, I feel like I felt something lift in me. Like when we were going through it, like there was just vibrations going all throughout my body, my legs, my arms, and something just lifted. I can't explain it to you. This is probably going to sound really woo-woo, but this is honestly
your
what happened.
experience.
Yeah. And like when I woke up the next day, it's just like I saw the world differently, and I was like, what am I doing? Like this life there's so much more to life than this. Like, what am I doing? And then got on my phone. Guess who came up? Guess who came up? It's like you heard me. Like, what am I doing with my life? And then, lo and behold, Brooke.
That is, I have goosebumps all over my body. I mean, it is absolutely awful to hear that your dad has cancer, though his perspective and just the way that he dealt with it is just so, like, he's at peace with it almost.
Yes.
And so that, whether you liked it or not, he held up a mirror.
Yeah.
And he was like,
yeah.
And you chose to follow.
Mm-hmm.
Ah!
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He's a perfect example of, like, he backed himself 100%. We were so against, like, why are you doing this? I was the biggest. I was like, look, let's just go to the doctors and see what we can do, da-da-da-da-da. But he backed himself 100% and was like, no, this is what I want to do. This is what I believe. I'm going to do this. And then it kind of just sent me into a spiral, like, okay, what do I believe? I don't believe that this is supposed to be my life.
Yeah.
I need to back myself in this moment as well.
And, you know, Beck, like, not everyone has a moment like that. Some people don't get a moment like that until they're in their 50s, 60s, 70s even.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're able to do this at 35 is pretty special. Yeah. To have that moment, that the way that I like to look at it is sometimes I think of, like, we're a plug in the wall, and that thing that you felt lift is like you being finally unplugged. It's almost like a wake up. Like you're literally just like, boom, and you're like, holy shit, I think I see things clearly for the first time.
God, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's so beautiful. Mm-hmm. Okay, so now I know we've jumped around a little bit, but I'm just trying to, this context is so important as to the conversation that we had in the nail salon. So we're going to come to that in a sec. So you were in the community, you were present, you were doing all the things, you got certified. Walk us through that process. How did it feel going for your certification and then getting your results? Like,
oh my gosh, it felt amazing when I got the results. I was walking through Melbourne. I was walking through the streets and I was just in tears because I was just so proud. Like I did it.
Yeah.
Like I started so scared and so unsure and all the things, but I just kept going. And then not only did I pass, but I got a distinction as well. Like I got really good marks and I was so proud of myself. And that's not something that I can say about myself a lot because of the self-belief, which we'll probably get into. But yeah, that was something that I really just wanted to sit and celebrate. However, after that, it's just like, okay, so I did that. This was my goal up until this point. What now? What now? And at the beginning, my goals were to, once I get certified, I'm going to get a closer role and quit my job, full stop.
And then you got certified, and what happened?
I lost my way a little bit.
Why do you think?
I just think that, one, I didn't reset my goals or reevaluate what was next. And actually going into the industry and really seeing it firsthand and understanding, I don't know, I think I just got a little bit shook. I just got a bit wobbly knees, riding the bike for the first time. And that was that moment, riding the bike for the first time and falling. And yes, we tell you to get back on it, but I think I was a bit too scared to get back on it and keep trying and keep falling.
Yeah. It's like when you crinkle a piece of paper, right? You can never fully uncrinkle it. So even though you fell off the bike, you maybe grazed your knee, that leaves a mark. You get back on again, but you're a little bit more bruised the next time. And then you do it again, you're like, oh gosh, that's another one. And so every single time that battery of willingness to do it again gets less and less and less and less.
Yes.
And there was something else that I think is really important to note is once you reach a goal, the very next day, moment, like you must create a new goal because you were going into this industry with no idea of what success looked like.
Yeah.
So how on earth could you feel successful?
Yeah.
Even when I asked you the other day, like, what does success feel like for you? Like, oh, I don't really know. 20K. And we were like, you don't even know? So you're trying to be perfect, but perfect doesn't exist because you don't know what success looks like in your mind. And so it's really important. It's so important, in fact, like once you reach a really big, hairy, audacious goal, you must take the time to think about what's next. Where am I going next? Otherwise, that fall is big.
Yeah. So the what's next for me, it didn't change. Like I always knew that I was going to keep on trying new accounts and getting into closing. But what changed is that I didn't decide to cut the rope because of the uncertainty. I needed that security. So I kind of reverted back to the identity must practice. Yeah.
Old Tracy, eh?
Old Tracy. Yeah.
Tracy does like to come out in those moments of doubt and just be like, hello, remember, there's still the bank.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your safe, secure job. It wasn't so bad.
No,
It wasn't so bad. Those 10-hour days, like, that's not the worst thing ever. And you're responsible. It's a sensible thing to do. You got a family.
Yeah.
We all have
It
those
made
thoughts.
so much sense when I said that to you 2 days ago.
Right. So let's go to 2 days ago. So this is as far as I know, Beck is working on an account as a closer. I haven't really heard much from her in terms of like, I never see her in Boom City. I never we kind of just, I just kind of thought you were on your own doing your thing. So like to me, I was sitting in she was getting her nails done. I was sitting there and you tell everyone.
Brooke asked me, so what's going on for you? What's next? And then I dropped the bomb that I'm going back to my 9 to 5 on Friday, which was like 5 days from that date.
What? And so here's the thing, guys. Like, Beck asked me today, she's like, how come you were so calm when I said that to you? And I'm like, because I will never make you feel bad about making a decision. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to hold up the fucking mirror. And
you held it up.
I held it up. And I'm like, if you want to go back to the bank because you want to, fine. I support you and I'm excited for you. But it wasn't that. And we got to the bottom of that together. And it was a beautiful, I guess, transformation to witness, to see you going from so sure about the bank to being very like, oh gosh, I didn't even think of that, to like, oh my God, yeah, you're right. Oh my God. So let's talk about it because we got deep into this. When did you make up your mind you were going? I know you said you didn't cut the rope. When did you decide? Like, when did you say to yourself, I'm not cutting this rope? When did you make that decision?
If I'm going to be completely honest, I made that decision quite early on. When I got certified, that was the next step. Like if you look at my list of things to do and the timeline of these goals, that after certification, that was the next thing. Well, landing an account and then cutting the rope. I landed the account, but I was like, I just kept on putting off actually cutting the rope.
Why do you think that is?
Because I hadn't seen the success yet. I hadn't closed anything yet. I hadn't seen any bookings in my calendar yet. I hadn't seen it. And it was always like, when I see that, I'll cut it. When this happens, I'll cut it. And it just seemed like also in a good solid couple of months, like I was just really unlucky. The marketing was slow or my calendar was empty and things that I didn't have control over just kept on happening. And then that kind of scared me. Not kind of, that did scare me.
Yeah, I can see. And we spoke about the fact that when you make a decision like that, we all know the Batman analogy, right? When you keep the rope on, you try and take the jump, you're never going to make it. So it's not like the universe is going to make it easy for you. You've asked for this thing and it's like, okay, cool. Let's see how badly you really want this.
Yeah.
And so when you kept falling off the bike, we won't say failing because I don't believe in failure, but when you kept falling off the bike and those bruises started to get bigger and those scars started to hurt a little bit more, getting back on the bike the next time was with a little bit of extra doubt. And when you have that happening to you, you will sabotage opportunities. So when you got an opportunity and one that you felt so aligned to, you still then cut the rope. And then what happened?
Yeah. It's like, I feel like that was not cutting the rope. It was just saying to the universe that, like giving permission to the universe to show me failure, to validate that reason, that decision. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's sabotaging.
Yeah.
It's looking, well, I mean, when you have a belief, and if we go back to the very first identity that you said, it's like you being responsible. Cutting the rope is almost irresponsible. It's the complete opposite, right? So you go back to listening to Tracy. She's driving this vehicle now. And all of a sudden your brain is searching for evidence to prove yourself that going back to the bank is the right decision.
Yeah.
So naturally what's going to start to happen is you're going to get no-shows. You're going to get cancellations. You're going to start seeing things through a different lens, through the Tracy lens, being like, who would do this? This is wild. Like, I haven't had a call in 5 days. How am I supposed to provide for my family? This is irresponsible.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so when that didn't work out, was that you drawing the line in the sand to be like, all right, cool, going back to the bank?
I would have to be honest and say yes. I danced around that. Like, to my husband, I was like, yes, but no, yes, but no. But internally, I think it was a yes for me. Yeah. Like I did make that decision quite early on.
Yeah. And you know, guys, when she told me she was going back to the bank, she was like, I could see that she was kind of like, I don't know how Brooke's going to take this. So she was kind of like, oh, I'm like, you know, I'm going back to the bank on Friday and I'm just going to do part-time and then I'm going to do my other account in the other days. And I was like, what? I was confused. I was like, hang on a sec. Why? And so we got talking about that and like, you know, recognizing when you need to let things go that aren't serving. It's just like having a friend that you walk away feeling shitty from. It's like you could love someone and you could love what they sell and you could really have a great relationship with them. But at the end of the day, you got to eat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so one thing that we actually spoke about just at the pool today, the pool, what are we in Australia? The gym that has a pool. I said because Beck's been sitting on this like feeling uncomfortable about having a conversation. Fair enough. It's always hard to, especially when you put a lot of pressure on yourself to want to help people and you feel like you're letting them down. That's another conversation. But we spoke about the fact that remote sales is a sport. And you get to decide whether you're loyal to the sport or loyal to a player. Okay? And so I think it's important to be loyal to the sport because the player can be good at times, bad at times. Like, why would you ever choose to just be loyal to one person?
Yeah.
If it's not giving you what you need. So it's like, choose to be loyal to the sport. You can't turn your back on the sport. You love it, right? You love it. But sometimes the player is the one that you need to be like, look, I'm actually going to search for a different team.
Yes.
So Beck told me, right? And I'm like, all right, sitting there kind of just being like, I think I asked you for permission to hold up the mirror. I was like, hey, I'm going to challenge that for a little bit just so I can understand. Yeah. And you gave me permission to, so I did. And I was never disrespectful or rude or like making you feel like you were making the wrong decision. But I did pull someone else into the conversation almost immediately. Because we were driving home and Beck started to feel sick. And I was like, I wonder if this is sick because she's let this, like she's actually voiced it. Or is it actually Bali belly? Because we hadn't really eaten anything. So I was kind of like, I think this is like a sickness of like you've brought it on. And so I messaged Tass straight away because we were meant to be meeting her at the gym. And I was like, you'll never believe it. Beck is going back to the bank. And she was like, what? All right, that's it. She was on the treadmill. She was like, when is she coming? And I'm like, well, she's actually sick. She's like throwing up. Like, I don't really know if we're going to make it. And then I come in and you're like, okay, I seem to be okay now. I think because you'd finally said it, but then your body has to, the only way to get rid of energy is through your body. So the only way your monkey mind can communicate you, and you were feeling threatened, I feel.
Yeah.
Because that identity was feeling threatened. The one that you had told yourself was the right one, it was the responsible one, it made sense in your mind, all of a sudden that was being threatened.
Yes.
And so when your monkey mind tries to communicate with you, it communicates through your gut, which explains why you were having the stomach pains. Because it was like, Tracy was like, hell no, hell no.
Well, she really tried to take the wheel there.
Totally. I think like for a good while, even though you were kind of like being like, wow, I still truly think you were like, I'm going back to the bank. Like Tracy was serious. She wasn't only just driving, she was like buckled in. Like it was happening on Friday. You were like, I'm just going to go back and yeah, you're right, Brooke, but I'm just going to go back and, I'll get to the same point again. And we're like, why are you even going to go back? You had literally buckled her in for the long haul. Like Tracy was back, baby. So what was the moment for you then when you were like, I'm not going back? What happened?
Well, I did what you said, actually. When we got home, I just journaled everything that we talked about. And I redid my vision. What is it that I actually want? And I told you that actually being on this trip, it was the first time that I traveled since before having kids. My son is 4 years old now. And me and my husband are travel bugs. We love to adventure and do all the things. And it just kind of brought me back to that version of me. Because that version that I've been so disconnected from for so long, because I was just trapped in this like, no, I'm a mom now. I've got to do the thing. I've got to do this. This is how it's supposed to be now.
Yeah.
That's what I accepted for myself.
Yeah.
And then just coming back to this old part of me, which is what I wanted to fight for in the beginning to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just made me realize, I'm like, when you ask the question, is going back to the bank going to give you that life? And I was like, no. I told you I wanted to be away. I wanted to be away from home for 70% of the year. Traveling. Is the bank going to give me that? No. And that was kind of the like, okay, everything stopped making sense.
Yeah.
Like all my thoughts.
Tracy crashed.
Yeah. Like imagine an aligned life is a straight line and everything was just feeling like this. Nothing made sense. And I just needed to write it down. I literally slept on it. And the next morning, as soon as I picked up my phone, I started writing my resignation. Like that's how simple it was. In that moment, that's how simple it was.
I know.
Everything was so clear.
I know. Clarity is medicine.
Oh my God.
It is. When you have clarity, decisions are easy because you're like, every decision is in alignment with where I'm going. And yes, that adventure bug version of you is quiet because she's been squished in the boot for so long. But she's fucking there,
Yeah.
She is there. And like, it's so, I just love that you took action, like you actually implemented what I encouraged you. I didn't force you. I said, hey, if I was you, take it or leave this. But I would write down everything from today, every thought, story that's still coming up, write it all down, go to sleep. And the clarity that you will have in the morning, you'll know exactly what to do.
That's literally what you said. And that's exactly what happened. It was just so easy, so simple.
The fact that you woke up and just grabbed your phone and started writing your resignation letter, like, holy shit.
Yeah. It was 6:34. It was 6:34, picked up my phone, and I just started writing.
That blindfolds off, baby. And like, this is the weird part that no one talks about, okay? So Tracy's not in she's not in the driver's seat right now. So no one's really driving. Because the new you, the version of you who has what you wrote down and you wrote that vision, she's not fully arrived yet.
Yes.
So this part feels really uncomfortable because you're kind of like, and everything you question every story, every thought, like who am I being right now? But that awareness is so, so powerful. That awareness that you have and the ability to just question everything. Hey, who's talking right now? All right, Tracy, I hear. It's not going to serve me. And just recognizing that, yes, this part feels really uncomfortable, but that's where you want to be because you know the next person that hops in that driver's seat is exactly the person you want to be.
Yeah.
What are we going to name her?
Oh, what are we going to name her?
Because eventually she'll become Tracy, you know. Maybe not to the extent of Tracy, but she'll become a version of Tracy. She won't serve you anymore.
I think I just want it to be Beck.
Great.
Yeah. I want it to be me, the me that I always knew I could be, the me that I always wanted to be. Simple.
That's so beautiful. Wow. There's doesn't get much more real than this, hey? Seriously, guys, find yourself a coach who will do that for you.
Yeah.
Who won't just like give you a hug and be like, it's all going to be okay, but who's actually like, hang on a sec. Mm-hmm. Hang on a sec.
Yep.
Yeah, let's talk about this. And I'm sure there was a part of you that was like, oh, no, I don't want to. But you gave yourself permission to just like surrender. I think that was a big word that we kind of were like, really, you were just like, I'm just going to surrender to this now because like I need it. I didn't realize I needed it, but I do. So I'm just surrendering and now here we are.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? Since doing that, like I think when I initially sent that resignation, there was a feeling in my gut, just that, and that's normal.
Yeah, that's the cutting of the rope.
Yeah. And then now that I've kind of been able to process and just digest everything, I feel free. Like I feel like a weight's been lifted off my shoulder. And I can see clearly now that,
you just said a weight's been lifted off your shoulders. That's what you said, right? Mm-hmm. How did you feel again when you had that energy healer? What felt like?
Yeah. This is why you're my coach.
Oh my goodness. So many things. I'm kind of just like at a bit of I'm really proud of you, first and foremost. Thank you. Doing the thing, taking the action. Like I wasn't sure I was kind of joking around in my Instagram by being like, hey, help me, help Beck not go back to her 9-to-5, which was semi a gag. But you know, I didn't truly believe that you would write a resignation. I thought, you know what, she'll go back, she'll realize, and then she'll be like, Brooke, you were right. That's kind of how I thought that's how I thought the plot would be. So you really surprised me in the best way, in the best way. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Cheers to leaving your 9-to-5.
And thank you so much for supporting me through that. And I think that's the biggest thing. If I could change anything, you know, I was doing it on my own after certification. I felt like I graduated, so that means I don't need you anymore. But that's just not the truth. Actually, it never stops.
Yeah, it never does.
Yeah,
and it shouldn't. In fact, that's like, it's kind of like you're a baby, you graduate, you can crawl, and then the transition from crawling to walking is big, and then the transition from walking to running is big, and then running to jumping. Like it doesn't stop.
Yeah. Like it's like I got over that first wall, but there was a new wall, and I was trying to get up it by myself, but I just needed to reach out my hand and get some help up.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Pretty spectacular story. I want to end on you just sharing some, not even inspiration, just like some really real advice to anyone who is in the thick of it right now. Mm-hmm. Like maybe they've had the same journey as you, because like, let's be real, guys, you're not going to land, and maybe you will. Maybe you'll get lucky and land your dream account after you get certified straight off the bat, and you're making $20K a month in your first month. Maybe that will be your story. Mm-hmm. But for a lot of people, you've got to, and when you ask for something, the universe will deliver, but it will test you. It will make sure that you want this as badly as you say you do. And a lot of people fail that test. They jump on one account, maybe two, maybe three, and they're like, nah. Mm-hmm. Fallen off the bike too many times. I'm done with this. This is too hard. So for those people who are like in it, but they've maybe got 1 foot in, 1 foot out, they're almost like reaching out for that rope again. Like, what would you say to them?
The first thing I would say is, why did you do this in the first place? We need to get back to that. Like, what was your vision in the first place? Well, what are you fighting for? Let's get clear on that again. Because even then, like that vision that you wrote for yourself back then, it could still change, and that's okay. But let's get clear, because the only reason why you would be reaching out for that rope is because that vision is not clear anymore.
Yeah, you're not anchored in it.
You're not anchored in it. Yeah, exactly. And that's where I feel like I stumbled.
Yeah.
And so it's just about coming back to that. And remember, you're not alone. Like when you feel this way, reach out to the people that, you know, that are on the other side to help you up, because you can't do it alone.
Yeah.
When you get that wall, if that wall feels too high, don't try to do it by yourself.
Get a fucking stepladder.
Yeah, get a fucking stepladder, or just like hold out your hand. Come on.
Yeah, I love that advice. I love that advice. And you're right. You're absolutely right. You don't have to try and do this your own. And you don't have to tell yourself, oh, but I'm certified. Like I'm done now. It's like, no, you've just fucking started.
Yeah.
You know how to crawl. Good job. Now you need to learn how to walk. That's another whole thing.
Yeah.
You know?
And then from there, you need to learn how to run.
And then jump. And then skip. Like it doesn't stop.
Yeah, it
That's what I'm
doesn't stop.
saying. It doesn't stop.
No.
It shouldn't stop. The moment it stops is the moment that you're not learning anymore. And that's where you die.
Yeah.
So like if you're not learning, what are you doing?
100%.
Like, actually, what are you doing?
Yeah. 100%.
Actually, that's one thing I want to mention is like, you can't half commit to freedom.
Yeah.
You can't half commit to a life of entrepreneurship and freedom. Once you make the decision, once you make that commitment to yourself that this is the life I'm going to pursue, you don't get to just decide you're not doing it anymore. It's like you're in a marathon, you are literally in it. You can't just turn around and walk back to the start line. Like you've committed to this life. And that means the ebbs and flows. That means the unknown. That means the messy middle era. Like it means all of that. So get used to it. Make it your new normal. You know, we
100%.
we normalize the matrix.
Yeah.
We normalize like not being paid for a sick day because we've used them all. Like, are you fucking kidding me? We normalize that, yet we don't normalize the ebbs and flows of being in entrepreneurship. We don't normalize the emotional roller coaster of what it's like.
Yeah.
It's like that's just the life that you committed to. Freedom has a cost.
Yeah. 100%. Oh my gosh. What can happen in 3 days, I swear to God?
Change your whole world.
Just shift your whole mind, shift your whole life. And that's, thank you. Like,
Oh, thank you. You did it.
Oh, God.
You did it. You did it. I just held up the mirror. That's one thing to hold up the mirror. It's another thing to look into it. You looked into it.
that I think, but I held out my hand.
Yeah.
And I was accepting of whatever would come.
Yeah.
And that's what I think, that's the advice. I just want to, that's the advice. Be open to receiving, even when you're not sure.
Yeah. Receiving the help.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Our blue light's on.
Okay.
We've just done. Tashi wishes she was here, but we hadn't. We did get to have a beautiful chat with her about the
Yes.
whole thing. So
Yeah, we did.
thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing your story from start to finish. That's going to inspire a lot of women. It really will.
Thank you for having me here. I was so nervous to be here, but I feel like, I think that this will help a lot of women. And I really hope that it does. And I hope a lot of women resonate with this, and it's okay. You're not alone.
Yeah.
You're not alone.
Yep. Well, thank you guys. Thanks for listening. I will
Thanks.
see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.